Oh, it's a wrong song. Hold on. Now we'll get started. All right, good morning. It's Friday, and well, it's morning for me. It's afternoon for some people on this call. So I want to welcome everybody to the Growth Marketing Team Call. I'll just jump right into the metrics. So looking at website let me share my screen. It's good for you to see the numbers and not just look at my face the whole time. So if you look at the numbers here, so we're 52.7% of the way through the quarter. So congrats making it halfway through quarter two, y'all. I mean, I guess it was inevitable, but we're here. And so pace so far this quarter, we, as far as goals, increased website traffic 20% year over year. We're on track there. So this move from starting in January to year to date to year over year. So we're looking at the last 12 months for this number now. So new users is up 23%, page views is up 22%. You can actually see here, what that looks like. Looking here, I see September, October, we've got some lofty goals to hit to start achieving that growth there. So I'm excited about that. As far as MQLs, right now we're in yellow, off track. But as you see here, that part of that is due to an open issue where SaaS trials weren't being counted for a brief period of time, and so those are being backfilled, and we anticipate this number being green once that's done. Pipeline generation still green. We're at 70% attainment so far for the year, so we're on track there. And that wraps up the metrics portion of the call. So I'm going to pass it to Shane Bouchard for show and tell.
Thank you, Shane. Yep, this is show and tell. So I'd like to invite anyone who would like to contribute to share something that they completed this week. And with that, I will pass to Luke to share, it looks like, illustration guidelines.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks, Shane. I apologize for my voice. It sounds like I probably just woke up, but I promise I've been up for a little while. So Vic wasn't able to make the call today, so I will step in for her and share my screen here. If I can find the right one. 1 second. All right, great, good deal. So this week actually worked with Vic to kind of get this on paper. So this is a NBC 1 of our illustration guidelines, just kind of very high level, sort of what is, excuse me, GitHub illustration, kind of how we approach things, kind of the reason behind all the visuals. So essentially built out these 3 sections here. So definitely encourage you to check those out, and we'll be building out more guidelines. This is more kind of like a high level approach. For how she approaches illustration and how it kind of represents the GitLab brand. And I'm going to go a little bit rogue here. I'm on a single screen today. And also share the, oh my goodness, the illustration library that she announced as well. She didn't add this to the agenda, but I thought I'd share. Yeah. Okay, if it'll load here. So just very kind of basic stuff she's been working on so far. Icon patterns, a lot of the diagrams and kind of infographics that she's worked on with various members of the team. So putting those together in kind of a reusable fashion. So you'll see a lot of these probably made their way into ebooks and other types of things. So again, just kind of a very basic start to that. Yeah. Yes. So she posted that to the Growth Marketing channel, so feel free to check that out. If you have any feedback, that would be awesome. But just thought I'd share what's going on in the illustration world. All right. See you next. I'll pass it over to Shane Rice.
Yeah, it's me. Thanks, Luke. So yeah, so this week we launched a test for pricing. So I'm going to just share what that looks like, and then some of the results. So this, I was going to actually show you both versions so we can compare that on the call. But you know, of course, whenever I went to look, I got the test version. So this is the test. So we changed this language here. So now it's focused on capabilities and benefits rather than specific features. And so the hypothesis is, as we talk about that, that's going to draw people's interest more than just a big long list of features, right? So when we look at the results for the test so far, you can see that the test is improving click on compare by over 10%. And it's improving clicks overall to either buy now or the compare button by 4%. So I think this is a really exciting result. It tells us that we're on the right track, that this language is where we need to be. I also think it validates the next test we're working on, which is we want to add an interstitial so that when someone clicks on compare features, it actually shows them a list of, you know, things about that level plan, this benefit focus, same way to help them click on to, you know, the next part of the process, buy now or trial. So I'm excited about that. Just want to share kind of the early results. I think that, you know, we have reached statistical significance, and it looks like these tests are you know, going to stay in that realm. So I would call this a success, and we will merge this change and then move on to the next test in the next couple of weeks. So with that, I'll pass it over to Brandon.
Yeah, so I don't have too much. This is a quick item that I've also mentioned in Slack, but I realized that we didn't have any documentation around kind of the merge request process for the About website and handbook. And so I just kind of threw something together. A lot of this was already in my head based on prior experience at my previous company and then experience at this company so far. So it just kind of goes over what to look for in a merge request. Some of the stuff is obvious, like does this impact what it's supposed to? And does this impact things it's not supposed to? You know, a lot of people will remember the form to check the former, but not the latter. Things like checking browsers and mobile devices, and GDPR is behaving as expected. And then, you know, different segments of what to check for the handbook, you know, the blog, the releases page. You know, for the more specific examples, it goes over like is the code well written? You know, does this follow our copy and design guidelines, UX best practices? And some of these are kind of blank to-do sections. You know, obviously the handbook is a living document, and I wanted to get this out rather than kind of let it sit until I had it all filled out. And everyone should feel free to contribute to this page. And it's also linked in the meeting agenda. And yeah, and then I also created a list of guidelines, not just to, you know, brand and digital design and website guidelines, but also copy and specifically sections like, you know, tone and naming convention and the writing style guide for the blog and product engineering's code review handbook and stuff like that. So yeah, it's a good page to take a look at if you're not familiar with what kind of things you might want to look for in a merge request. And a lot of this may or may not apply to your specific change, but it's good to know that this resource is there. With that, I don't think there is anyone left after me for show and tell, so I guess it would be over to Danielle.
All right, yep, I'm leading shoutouts today. So just a reminder, we will post all these shoutouts in Slack. It's a great way to mention people, have them come watch this video, have them know that we appreciate them. So even if they're not on this call or not on this team, you can thank a person, you can thank a team. So if you have more ideas for shoutouts, you feel free to add them in here. And Rebecca Dodd, take it away.
Thank you. Yes, I wanted to shout out to Sarah Kasabian. She's not on this call because she's off today, but she led an effort to publish the Diversity, Inclusion and Belonging blog post series, which went out this week. There were a lot of folks involved, a lot of moving parts, and it's obviously a sensitive topic that we want to do justice to. So I think she did a great job of having everyone involved and taking in all of the feedback and still being kind of careful and sensitive. Yeah, also I wanted to thank the contributors. So Candace, Erica Flowers, who is on this call. Thank you, Flowers. We appreciate you. and Sharif, as well as everyone who helped with reviews. So Val, Will, Erica, Natasha, Todd, and I am sure there were others who I have missed out. But thank you all, huge team effort, and thank you, Sarah, for spearheading that. And I'll pass it on to Shane Rice.
Thanks, Rebecca. Yeah, so my shout outs for Brandon specifically, who without his help, the test would not have launched this week. So he was right there doing all the, hard work and making sure the test, matches the experience and what people expected. So really appreciate the work you put in on that, Brandon. I want to give you a shout out here. And with that, I'll pass it over to Danielle.
Thank you. I just want to shout out to all the people, and I think I don't have all the names, but as many as I could think of, who helped, along with Shane Rice, who was the DRI, of just digging into what the heck was going on with trials. It's an issue that we identified on Thursday, and it was kind of like the end of the day before friends and family, and people jumped on it really quickly. So thank you to Shane Rice, Jerome, Jensen, Dara, Amy, Robert, Kat, and I think probably some other people as well. Also want to say the engineering team, names of whom I don't even think I know all the names, but they basically got the issue fixed on a go-forward basis within 6 hours. So it's just wonderful to know we're good in a crisis and folks have the back of the marketing team. I think some of this was a connection between the customer's app, so it wasn't even just our own web team. We also had to kind of work with product, which we don't always do. So yeah, really, really appreciate everyone jumping in there and running that little fire drill. And Shane Rice, I don't know if you want to say anything else. It's really, I don't want to steal your thunder here. It was really your effort that you were leading. So thanks.
No, I think that covers, you're right. Like there's a lot of people who are involved in that effort, and they all deserve mention here. And I appreciate you putting everyone into that shout out. Passing it to Luke now.
Yep, awesome. Thanks, Shane. Yeah, just wanted to do another quick shout out to Brandon Lyon for all his work with the vendor onboarding. Put it into practice this past week, and it went really well in my opinion. So thanks for kind of putting the groundwork there. I know you did a lot there that's kind of outside of your role, so I appreciate that. And I will pass it over to Brandon.
Yeah, and just a shout out back to Luke for helping out with that vendor onboarding stuff. Got a lot of parts of what I looked at from him as well while we were collaborating on that. And it's good to it's good to do stuff not just alone. So yeah, thanks. And then on to, looks like I might be last. Don't know. Someone's typing, I think, or someone has an empty entry.
Anybody else want to do a shout out? All right. Well, I don't see any questions in the town hall. I'm going to stop doing the going once, going twice, going 3 times thing. So in the future, if you'd like to ask a question, just go ahead and throw it in there. But otherwise, I hope everyone has a wonderful weekend, and we will do this on Thursday going forward. Bye.
Happy Friday.
Hey, y'all, have a good weekend.
Happy Friday to you too.